On the evening of Saturday, October 4th, 2025, downtown Montgomery, Alabama, was alive with energy and excitement. The city's historic streets were filled with laughter, music, and the vibrant spirit of a community coming together. Families, friends, and visitors gathered to enjoy a weekend festival, savoring local food, live performances, and the unique charm that makes Montgomery special. For many, it was a chance to make memories and celebrate the city's culture. But as the night wore on, the joyful atmosphere was shattered. Gunfire suddenly rang out, echoing through the streets and sending shockwaves of fear and confusion through the crowd. At 11:30 p.m., near the busy intersection of Bibb and Commerce streets, chaos erupted. What had been a vibrant hub of activity was instantly transformed into a scene of terror. People screamed and ducked for cover as police sirens wailed and emergency lights flashed across the night sky. The city, bustling with events and visitors just moments before, was suddenly gripped by panic. Crowds scattered in every direction, desperately seeking shelter from the violence. The sense of safety and celebration vanished in an instant, replaced by fear and uncertainty. What should have been a memorable weekend for Montgomery quickly became a national headline. News of the mass shooting spread rapidly, and the city found itself at the center of a tragedy that would leave a lasting scar. Another community, once full of hope and joy, was now marked by senseless violence. The heart of Montgomery, a place usually filled with laughter, music, and the warmth of its people, was left in shock and mourning. Streets that had echoed with celebration now stood silent, marked by grief and loss. Memorials began to appear as residents gathered to honor those affected and to try to make sense of the tragedy. The shooting's location, right in the middle of a district packed with restaurants, bars, and nightlife, meant that many innocent bystanders were caught in the crossfire. People who had come out for a night of fun and relaxation suddenly found themselves in the midst of chaos, their lives forever changed in a matter of seconds. In just moments, a place of joy and togetherness became a scene of terror and heartbreak. Police and first responders worked through the night, investigating the crime scene and comforting those affected. The city was left searching for answers, struggling to understand how such violence could erupt in the heart of their community. Now, as Montgomery comes together to mourn, the community faces the painful task of healing. Vigils are held, neighbors comfort one another, and city leaders promise to seek justice for those forever changed. The road ahead will be difficult, but Montgomery's spirit endures, determined to find hope and unity in the face of tragedy. Behind every headline are real people, lives lost, families shattered. 17-year-old Jeremiah Morris was one of the victims, his future stolen in an instant. Shalanda Williams, 43, a beloved mother and community member, was also killed, leaving her family devastated. Their absence is a wound that will never fully heal. 16 people were shot that night, many of them teenagers, the youngest just 16. Instead of making memories, they faced trauma and injury, their lives forever altered. The impact ripples outward. Friends, classmates, and the entire community now share in the grief. As we mourn Jeremiah and Shalanda, we also stand with the 14 injured, hoping for their recovery. These names and faces remind us, every victim is more than a statistic. The tragedy began with a targeted attack, shattering what had started as a typical night in the heart of the city. The downtown area, usually alive with laughter, music, and the hum of people enjoying themselves, was suddenly transformed by violence. In a crowded downtown scene, hundreds of people had gathered, some celebrating, others simply passing through on their way home. The air was thick with excitement, and no one suspected that danger was lurking so close. Police say the shooter aimed at one person, but chaos quickly engulfed everyone nearby. In an instant, the sound of gunfire cut through the noise, sending shockwaves through the crowd. People screamed, ducked for cover, and instinctively ran in every direction, desperate to escape the threat. At first, many mistook the sharp cracks for fireworks, an innocent mistake on a night filled with celebration. But as panic set in and people realized what was happening, the scene turned to chaos. Friends were separated, strangers helped each other, and the fear was palpable. Law enforcement was close by, but the violence erupted too quickly to prevent. Officers who had been monitoring the crowd for safety suddenly found themselves racing toward the danger, trying to assess the situation and protect as many people as possible. Officers shifted instantly from crowd control to crisis response, highlighting the unpredictability of such events. Their training kicked in as they directed terrified bystanders to safety, set up a perimeter, and searched for the shooter amid the confusion. The decision to settle a dispute with a gun in a packed area put countless innocent lives at risk. In just a few seconds, what could have been a minor altercation escalated into a life-or-death situation for everyone present. One reckless act spiraled into a mass tragedy, leaving 2 dead and many wounded. Emergency medical responders rushed in, treating the injured and comforting those in shock. The street, once filled with joy, was now marked by grief and disbelief. The trauma of that night will linger for all who were there. Survivors, witnesses, and first responders alike will carry the emotional scars, haunted by memories of the chaos and loss. It's a stark reminder of how quickly safety can vanish, and how a single moment can change countless lives forever. The initial gunfire was only the beginning. Others in the crowd, gripped by fear and adrenaline, reached for their own weapons. In a matter of seconds, what had started as a single, targeted act of violence spiraled out of control. The sound of gunshots echoed off the buildings, and the crowd's panic intensified as more people drew handguns, some firing wildly in the confusion. The air was thick with chaos, and the line between attacker and defender blurred as the situation escalated. What started as a targeted attack became a chaotic shootout, bullets flying in all directions. Muzzle flashes lit up the night, and the sharp crack of gunfire sent people scrambling for cover behind cars, dumpsters, and anything they could find. The street, once filled with the sounds of laughter and conversation, was now overtaken by screams and the relentless staccato of gunfire. In the confusion, it was impossible to tell who was shooting at whom or why. Police later confirmed that at least 2 of the wounded were also armed and had fired their weapons during the melee. Investigators found handguns scattered among the injured, and spent shell casings littered the pavement. The evidence told a story of a crowd that, instead of fleeing, had become entangled in the violence, each shot fired adding to the confusion and danger. The crossfire turned a dangerous situation into a mass casualty event, with innocent bystanders caught in the middle. Emergency responders rushed to aid the wounded, but the sheer number of victims overwhelmed first responders. Some people had been hit while simply trying to escape, their lives forever changed by a bullet meant for someone else. The chaos and confusion made it nearly impossible for police to immediately determine who had been involved and who had simply been in the wrong place at the wrong time. All recovered firearms were semi-automatic with high-capacity magazines, allowing for rapid, indiscriminate shooting. The firepower present on the street that night was staggering. Dozens of rounds could be fired in seconds, leaving little time for anyone to react or seek safety. Investigators displayed the weapons and spent casings as evidence of just how quickly the situation had escalated and how difficult it was to control once so many guns were in play. Chief Graboys stated, "They could have walked away, but they chose violence. A bullet once fired does not come back." His words echoed the frustration and sorrow felt by the entire community. The decision to pull a trigger, he reminded everyone, is irreversible, and its consequences ripple far beyond the intended target. The shooter's choices left a trail of devastation that could have been avoided. Families gathered at the scene, searching for loved ones, while police officers tried to comfort witnesses traumatized by what they had seen. The emotional toll was immense, and the community was left grappling with the senselessness of the violence. The presence of multiple armed individuals escalated the tragedy beyond control. Police arrested several suspects at the scene, but the sheer number of weapons made it clear that the problem was bigger than any one person or group. The city was left to reckon with the reality that, in a moment of panic, too many people had chosen to reach for a gun. In seconds, a single conflict became a citywide nightmare. Sirens wailed through the night as ambulances and police cars raced to the scene. The fear and confusion spread far beyond the block where the shooting began, touching families and neighborhoods across Montgomery. The consequences of those choices will haunt Montgomery for years. The city mourns not just the lives lost, but the sense of safety shattered in an instant. As candles flicker on the sidewalk and flowers pile up at the scene, the community is left to ask, how did it come to this? City leaders addressed Montgomery with sorrow and resolve. Mayor Stephen Reed condemned the violence, calling it selfish behavior that shattered the city's peace. He likened the chaos to the wild, wild west, urging the community to reject a culture of violence. Police Chief Graboys emphasized the deliberate choices made by the shooters, vowing to bring them to justice. Both leaders assured the public that every effort is being made to identify and apprehend those responsible. Their unified message: Montgomery will not let violence define its future. Hospitals across Montgomery sprang into action, treating the wounded in the aftermath. Baptist Medical Center South received 7 victims. 1 died, 3 were in critical condition, 2 stable, and 1 released. Medical staff worked tirelessly, providing care and comfort to families facing heartbreak. The severity of injuries underscored the indiscriminate nature of the shooting. Multiple hospitals coordinated to handle the influx, straining resources and emotions. Healthcare workers became the city's lifeline, their dedication a beacon amid tragedy. Their efforts are a testament to the resilience and compassion of Montgomery's medical community. In crisis, they stood strong for the city. To find those responsible, city officials announced a $50,000 reward for information leading to arrests and convictions. Mayor Reed and City Council President Calhoun urged anyone with knowledge to come forward. Police are reviewing surveillance footage and interviewing witnesses, but public tips are crucial. Eyewitness accounts, cell phone videos, and even rumors could help solve the case. Anonymous tips can be submitted to the police or Crime Stoppers, ensuring safety for those who speak up. The reward underscores the urgency and seriousness of the investigation. Community cooperation is essential for justice. Montgomery's tragedy unfolded during a weekend packed with major events: the Tuskegee Morehouse Classic, the Alabama National Fair, and Alabama State's homecoming. Authorities stress the shooting was unrelated to these celebrations. The violence stemmed from a personal conflict, not the city's official festivities. With resources stretched across multiple venues, the shooting added an unexpected crisis. Visitors from beyond Montgomery were also affected, broadening the tragedy's impact. The contrast between celebration and violence is stark, a reminder that even joyful times can be marred by senseless acts. The city's spirit was tested on what should have been a weekend of unity. Montgomery's path forward lies in unity and action. The community can help by sharing information with law enforcement. Every tip matters. Support for the victims' families and the injured is vital, through vigils, fundraisers, and acts of kindness. This tragedy is a call to address violence at its roots, teaching conflict resolution and rejecting the normalization of weapons. True safety comes from valuing every life and working together for peace. Montgomery's strength will be measured by its response, standing together, healing, and building a safer city. Let's honor the victims by choosing compassion and unity.